I quit my job. I quit my job in the United States Air Force. Serving my country was the best decision I ever made. The friendships, the mission, the sense of purpose, I wouldn't trade those years for anything. But the truth is, there were too many things that I couldn't ignore. The constant strain, the sacrifices that nobody sees, the moments that I questioned if I was still the person who I wanted to be. And one day, something happened that made my decision crystal clear. This is the real story on why I walked away from the United States Air Force. Let's start at the beginning. Why did I join the military in the first place? It wasn't because I wanted to be a part of something greater than myself or serve my country. In 2017, I was 20 years old, and I would come home after working a 10-hour long shift, 6 days out of the week, to a rusted trailer on the outside, and in the bathroom there was a hole, and in the winter, the cold wind would come through that hole and it would make the whole bathroom an icebox. It's because of that hole in that bathroom, that's what drove me to borderline insanity. I had to do something, and I had to do something drastic, and that's why I joined the military. But over time, the cracks started to show. Everyone wants to join the military to explore the world and get stationed in Germany or even Japan, but no one tells you that you can get stationed at Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, or Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska. Both these places, their temperatures could reach -20 for prolonged months at a time. Not to mention, you don't know how long you're going to be there. So you don't know where you're going, and you don't know how long you're going to be there. And if you're a younger airman, you can't afford the plane tickets to go visit home. No one tells you about the endless amounts of paperwork that you have to do in the military. At one point, half of my time was spent just doing paperwork. And we would write these packages, right, to recognize our troops, or even, we'd write our own packages to recognize our own selves, right? That's how much paperwork we were doing. And eventually, we dreaded it. We got to the point where, all the leadership, we just dreaded it. We would take something that someone else did and put it on somebody else's package, just a quick copy and paste to be done with it. And it got to the point where everything felt fake. And then came the moment that everything changed. December of 2023, I was deployed out to Tokyo, Japan, which is absolutely great. I'm very thankful to have that opportunity. But I was stationed out there, or I was deployed out there for 5 months, and I fell in love. And when it came down to it, I had to leave. She wasn't going to come with me. And in that moment, I had to think, when I signed that dotted line, that 6-year contract with the Air Force, not only was I signing, to go to the promised land and get out of that rusted trailer, but I was also signing away a bit of my freedom. And when I signed away a bit of that freedom, I signed away an opportunity of love. As weird as that sounds, and I told myself I was never going to allow something like that to happen again. So I had to get out. When I decided that I was going to leave the Air Force, I had tons of conversations with my peers, and even my supervisors, and just people my mentors throughout this time in the Air Force. And some said, hey, you should really stay. Some say, hey, follow your heart. And deep down, I already knew that the answer was that I needed to leave the Air Force. By that time, I was becoming a little jaded, and I wasn't the guy that I joined. I wasn't the fired up person there to do a great job. I was just going through the motions, and at that point, it's just a matter of how. And I had so much fear and so much uncertainty, and there was so much doubt. But I knew what I had to do. Walking away felt like being submerged underwater for too long, and gasping for that breath of fresh air when you came out. But that didn't stop it from feeling very weird, from coming from being constantly on a team all day, every day, and always having structure and always having a mission, to just being myself and my mission being my mission. It's felt very lonely, to say the least. It's felt very lonely, but finally I have control over my destiny, and nothing's going to stand in the way from that. Nobody is going to stand in the way of that. And that's why I quit my job. Looking back now, I realized that the Air Force gave me much more than it took. It gave me resilience, leadership skills, and not to mention the brothers and sisters, and the friends and the family that I'll never forget. All right, if you've watched this far, thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into this video, and I would love it if you could like it and comment down below whether or not you've been in the military, or if you've ever thought about it, or if it's just like absolutely not, and then why. I'd be very curious. Just thank you very much. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.